By the end of this video, you'll understand why noble education did not just teach manners. It trained a class of people to see command, display, and dependence as a way of life. In the age of Louis XIV, especially after the court settled at Versailles in 1682, power did not only live in armies or laws. It lived in posture, clothing, speech, horses, dances, swords, and who was allowed to stand near the king. You are entering a world before the modern career, before the office routine, before the idea that respectable adulthood meant having a job. For an aristocratic child, education was not built around earning a wage. It was built around becoming visible in the right way. You learned how to bow, how to ride, how to write a formal letter, how to speak without sounding common, and how to hide effort behind grace. A working child might learn a trade by repetition, carrying tools, cleaning stalls, hauling water, or helping in a workshop. A noble child learned that the body itself was a public sign. Your walk, your accent, your clothes, and even your silence could announce rank before you said a word. Horsemanship was not a hobby, it was a language of power. A man who could control a horse looked fit to control land, soldiers, servants, and himself. Riding schools turned balance and courage into social proof. Fencing worked the same way. The sword was not only a weapon, it was a symbol that your honor mattered enough to be defended. Dancing, too, was serious. At court, a wrong step was not just awkward. It showed that you did not belong in the world where favor was distributed. In this old order, labor did not disappear. It was pushed onto other people. Fields still had to be planted, fires had to be fed, clothes had to be washed, horses had to be brushed, stabled, and cleaned after. But the noble ideal was distance from necessity. To work with your hands meant your body answered directly to hunger, weather, dirt, and time. To live nobly meant others handled those pressures before they reached you. That is why contempt for work was not only laziness. It was a social code, a way of proving that you belonged above the world of wages. Louis XIV understood this better than anyone. Versailles was not just a palace, it was a machine for managing nobles. Instead of letting powerful families sit on their estates and build private influence, the king drew them into court life, where status depended on access to him. A chair, a glance, a ceremony, a place in a procession, these became political tools. The old warrior nobility was slowly trained into a court nobility, less dangerous on the battlefield, more dependent in the hallway. But this system had a hidden weakness. It was expensive. Court clothing cost money, horses cost money, servants cost money. Time spent waiting for royal favor could not easily pay debts. Many nobles had titles but shrinking income. Some looked rich because looking rich was part of the job of not having a job. The performance of ease became its own burden. You had to appear above money while constantly needing it. That is the trap of aristocratic life. It promised freedom from labor, but it often replaced labor with dependence. By the late 18th century, this older world came under pressure from commerce, cities, print culture, and new ideas about merit. The French Revolution in 1789 did not simply attack a king. It attacked the belief that birth should decide honor before effort even began. In the 19th century, industrial capitalism pushed a different model of adulthood. The factory, the office, the school, and the state began to measure people by work, credentials, schedules, and pay. You no longer proved yourself mainly by courtly grace. Increasingly, you proved yourself by productivity. Modern life made work feel moral, structured, and unavoidable. You learned to wake by the clock, arrive on time, build a curriculum, collect a wage, and explain yourself through occupation. This new world solved some old problems. It weakened inherited privilege, opened paths through education, and made status less dependent on being born near power. But it also created a new cage. Instead of waiting in a palace for favor, you might wait in an office, a factory line, or an inbox. The court did not vanish completely. Some of its habits survived in titles, dress codes, networking, and the quiet art of pleasing the powerful. When you look at noble education, you are not only seeing old manners. You are seeing a whole society teaching children what kind of life deserved respect. One age trained the body to avoid visible labor. Another trained the body to arrive on schedule and sell its time. For most of history, work was not just a task. It was a mark of class, a source of survival, and a sign of where power placed you. Modern life feels normal because older struggles have been hidden inside schools, clocks, contracts, wages, and routines.